So we now have Katja Stille from Tibbalds Planning and Urban Design, the third of our 5 speakers. So Katja, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Leo. I'm going to set out what I believe creates a good code. But before that, I just want to kind of highlight a couple of points in relation also to what Matthew and Rob Cowan said. I think I'm not going to dwell on it, but I think they've already stated that codes need to cover a wide variety of different situations and different contexts and different briefs. And we have a lot of experience with strategic design codes for specific sites, but for areas, it is the experience that we have is a little bit more vague. I think also we need to start thinking about how we use the terminology of codes and guidance. A lot of local authority guidance or documents are called guides, although they include coding elements, and a lot of site-specific documents are called codes. So I think we need to be very clear about how we call them and what their purposes are. There are a lot of different situations, and as I said, I don't want to go over it again because I think Matthew and Rob have made those points really well. For me, there are kind of 6 key issues that make a good code. Absolutely critical, and that actually applies to codes as well as guidance, that codes need to be based on a clear and shared vision. What kind of place are we trying to create? What is the vision for this place? Is it going to be a place for kind of gentle densification? Or is it a new site, a new settlement, a new neighborhood? What are the qualities that we want to code for? If we don't know that, then anyone writing a code will struggle, and it will lead to kind of mediocre at best. The other absolutely critical thing is that it needs to be based on existing characteristics. We need to fully understand the existing qualities of the place and how we translate those into high quality development going forward. Again, I think we are at a risk that we create homogeneous developments that could be anywhere, and that a cookie cutter approach will be applied if we are not doing this stage properly and understand the existing characteristics. Critical as well, almost as critical as the end product, if not more so, is the process of creating and preparing a design code. It needs to be based on open and in-depth collaboration across a lot of different specialisms and with all stakeholders involved. All these stakeholders, including the community, the local authorities, the statutory consultees, the developers, urban designers, landowners, engineers, etc., need to agree that the direction for the code and the content on the code. Otherwise, delivering a good quality development will be really hard, as people kind of still have diverging aspirations. The code in itself needs to carefully balance prescription and flexibility. We need to make sure that it prescribes the absolutely essentials and that creates a distinctive high quality development, but is not over prescriptive. Because if it does that, then it becomes out of date and inflexible, and it also undermines creativity and innovation. For example, prescribing detailed typologies or detailed architectural languages, I don't think they are appropriate for code. On the other hand, it can't be too high level, and it needs to be specific. For example, saying a street should be varied becomes meaningless if it doesn't clearly set out what this variation is meant to be. Codes also need to be well and clearly communicated. I think that is clear, and everybody will agree to that. The language is really important, using the shoulds and the musts, and being very clearly what is prescriptive and what is kind of aspirational. Codes also need to be tested. Prescribing detail beyond the level of understanding and testing is very risky, and again can undermine the code. And I think this is one of the kind of risks I see with the white paper at the moment. Codes are proposed to be developed really early in the process. So do we actually have the technical understanding, the surveys, and have we done the design work that allows us to create a robust and high quality code? We can only code to the level of the detail that we have done the design work and the level of detail of the technical studies and the surveys that we have done. I've seen many codes that kind of try to prescribe a higher level of detail than is kind of available. And it leads to confusion, more negotiation and changes in the code. We also need to make sure it works with the market context and the commercial realities. Just quickly, before I kind of round up, there are a couple of misconceptions. Some people say codes create good places in themselves. I don't think they do. Codes are neutral. It depends on what you write into them. It depends on the process, and it depends how you enforce them. Another misconception is codes promote traditional development and stifle innovation. Again, I don't think that is true. I think it depends on how the code is written. And codes need to control the essentials, leave the detail to the design process, and allow the flexibility for creativity and innovation going forward. This is where the language that is used in a code is absolutely essential. And as Matthew and Rob said, codes are not about controlling style. The architectural detail should be left to the architects. So just to sum up, 3 key risks or challenges I think that we need to address is codes that are prepared on insufficient information. I think we need to make sure that we are coding only to the level of knowledge at that point and create a system whereby we can create more detailed codes going forward as more information becomes available and more design work is being undertaken. I think there's also a big question about who's creating those codes, the lack of resources, and the skills to prepare them and enforce them. And then the risk of kind of creating codes that kind of follow a cookie cutter approach, i.e. one code for every situation, and the loss of distinctiveness. So I think these 3 issues we need to explore further and find solutions of how to address them going forward with the white paper. Thank you very much. Bye.